NTV.ke.
Ni nani?
Yemo. Naona tu nikachai buda.
Hapa ni kashai tu tunashapa hivyo hivyo.
Umesema hakuna mkate kabisa?
Hakuna.
Chaja hii simu.
Acha nikuombe kwa neema. Ndio hiyo.
Niko na kiselect hapa.
Mkate ni selector. Tosha.
Demo.
Meru County Government brings you the first ever Mount Kenya Mountain Running Championship on 22nd February 2020. Come run for a cause to fight cancer, boost environmental conservation and promote Meru County as a tourist destination. The proceeds from this run go towards the building of the first ever Cancer Institute in Meru Level 5, which will be used to do research on cancer, create awareness, advise on preventive measures, offer diagnosis and treatment. Register to be part of the event at www.mountkenyarun.co.ke. Challenging the heights.
Taratibu Atoll Club is strategically located in Ruiru. You can access it via 4 routes. First route is Kigajo Road, which is on exit 13. You can also access it via Muguda Road. And the third route is you can access it from Ruiru Githogori Road on to Ngeda Road. And the fourth route is you can access it from Tatu City, thanks to the affordable monthly installments, where now one can be able to book a plot deposit of 10%.
This land is available in quarter acres and eighth of an acre. The title that will be made available to you will be in a form known as Certificate of Lease, which looks like a title deed. Payment of the purchase price shall be made to a bank account that will be provided to you, or a pay bill number.
Our email is info@taratibu.ke and our cell phone number is 0769 333 333.
Beba. 50-50. Oya kaenda buda.
Shapo mbele na unipe change.
Sawa. Fanya hivi, nipatie alafu nikupatie 80, alafu huyu dem atakupatia 30, alafu ule mzaya akinipatia robe yangu na kupatia alafu huyu dem bado akona yangu akinipatia na kupatia 80 au unanirudishia 50. Simple. Sawa. Yeah.
If only all things in life were as simple as 2 bob per minute to any network. Enjoy the best voice rate in Kenya. No bundle, no expiry, no minimum top-up. Now that's simple. Switch to Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment Center is an ISO-certified company leading in safe disposal of e-waste in Africa. E-waste defines all electronics that are obsolete or are overtaken by technology, e.g. phones, solar equipment, TVs, cables, microwaves, batteries, etc. They contain carcinogenic elements such as lead and phosphor powder that enter the food chain through reckless disposal of electronic equipment. Take initiative to dispose safely. Reach us on email or the numbers on your screen.
Invest in your future with Soil Merchants Developers, who have incredible offers for prime residential plots in Kisamis along Magadi Road, a few minutes from Kiserian town. Get an 8-acre plot at Kenya shillings 150,000 for cash buyers or 175,000 for installment buyers. Pay 30% deposit and clear the balance in 4 months. The plots are near Olepolos Country Club with ready title deeds. Borehole water and electricity are available. Schools and health facilities are nearby. Welcome to our open day on 15th February 2020. SMS plot to 21595 for inquiries. Do not miss out on this great investment opportunity to invest in your future.
This is NTV.
Good evening from wherever you're joining us from. You're just in time for the top bulletin in town. Ahead.
Tonight, Kenya's second president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, laid to rest. More memories shared at burial service.
Alikuwa hapa Nakuru. Ufike hapa na uwe hapa mbele ya saa moja kuisha. Lakini mimi nikajua mjinga peke yake ndio anajipeleka kwa moto. Karibu wiki moja mimi nikapotea huko chini.
If he received me with lakwani, which means child, in his softest voice, I knew I was in deep trouble.
Plus,
kwa kisiasa itakuwa huyu, sibo?
Gideon Moi symbolically handed a replica of his late father's rungu.
Tingiza.
The inevitable plays out at the Professor of Politics burial.
Tutaungana na wengine ili kupitia hii process ya BBI ambayo Mheshimiwa Rais ameanzisha na Bwana Odinga hapa ili kuleta Kenya pamoja.
Also tonight, Cabinet Secretary Rafael Tuju, more than 10 others hospitalized after dawn crash.
He's stable. He's undergone an operation just to stabilize him.
In conversations with him, and he was talking to his family throughout. He was talking to his friends as well.
And
thick lumps of ash, black ash. The head was the only intact thing that could tell you this was a human body.
30 years on, and Dr. Robert Oko's murder still remains a mystery, amid claims linking it to late Daniel Moi.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Mark Masai.
Thanks for joining us. Flora Atieno is our sign language interpreter tonight. After 9 days of national mourning and flags flying at half-mast in recognition of former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's death, Kenya's longest-serving head of state has finally been buried.
His body now rests in a grave next to that of his late wife, Lena, at their Kabarak home. The forces that the country's second president commanded for 24 years bid him farewell with a final 19-gun salute.
We'll bring you that story in just a moment. But first, the late former President Moi's funeral was a revelation of sorts as mourners got to hear anecdotes that shed light on different sides of Moi that what has ordinarily been in the public domain.
From a strict timekeeper and disciplinarian to a lover of roast meat. Take a little wine to help your stomach may just be one of the scriptures that the late Moi must have appreciated.
Brenda Wanga recaps on the Moi the people close to him knew.
On his last day on earth, some of those who gathered at the Kabarak University for the final stretch of his journey above the ground pulled back the curtains and allowed Kenyans to catch a rare glimpse into the softer side of a man whose persona was considered larger than life and to others a harsh dictator.
For the record, as Gideon said yesterday, yes, Mzee loved his meat.
That was not the only culinary myth that was shattered at the burial service.
He also enjoyed sharing a small glass of sweet, kosher, sacramental wine from Israel with Sir Charles and Njonjo and myself, and maybe just a wee bit at bedtime. Dawa ya wazee.
Mzee Moi was not only a father to his biological children, but also a father figure to those he took under his wing.
As children of Baba Moi, we sang about strong values, the values of hard work, the values of discipline, and we were taught to honor our country and become great patriots and defenders of our sovereignty. That is why I mourn my Baba Moi. However, I celebrate the patriotic values he espoused and imparted in us as children. Because of the strong Christian values of Baba Moi, the foundation of this nation is strong and its future is indeed bright.
He undertook that fatherly duty with unreserved zeal, doling out both praise and admonition in equal measure as Kenya's fourth president, the mentee of the old man, once found out.
Siku moja alipiga simu, najua zake zilikuwa za asubuhi, saa 11. Nilikuwa najua kwa sababu kulikuwa kitu nilikuwa nimefanya hiyo siku ingine. Kajua hii simu iko na taabu. Kaambia mama, we chukua hiyo. Mimi najua we utakuwa sawa. Kamuuliza ako wapi? Sema hayuko karibu. Baada ya dakika ingine 5 simu ikalia tena. Mama akaniambia hiyo mimi sichukui hata. Nasema wacha nichukue. Ulikuwa wapi? Nilikuwa naoga. Nilikuwa najitayarisha. Wacha moto uwake. Simu ikapigwa chini pa. Nikawachwa nimeshikilia namna hii.
A stickler for law, order and discipline, Moi has been cited as a man who not only kept time but his word as well.
I could tell you a lot of disaster stories about people who didn't keep time, including a minister coming late to a dinner for Margaret Thatcher, and we all knew, all the civil servants knew at the next reshuffle he would be gone, and he did.
Kuna siku moja aliitisha cabinet ya ghafla. Sisi tukafika mapema, lakini mzee Ntimama na roho yake pia ipumzike vizuri, akakuja amechelewa. Sasa mzee Moi akasimama pale na akamuuliza mzee Ntimama, ndugu Ntimama, sasa mbona unachelewa kufika mapema? Unajua mimi na wewe kwa rika yetu tulimaliza kazi yetu zamani. Wale ambao mimi naweza kusamehe wachelewe ni wadogo kama hawa bwana Musalia, kwa sababu bado wana kazi ya kufanya.
The late Mzee Moi's long-serving head of public service, Sally Koskei, recalls the impeccable memory that the late president had.
He reminded me of this meeting when I became reluctant to take up the London posting. He even reminded me of the ridiculous T-shirt I was dressed in that day. You have to believe that he really had a strong memory. Just in case you are wondering, that was a bright yellow T-shirt with black writing and a cup overflowing with beer.
He also ran a tight ship as a head of government, ensuring that all who served under him knew where the loyalty lay.
Everything had to be confidential. Leaking of information was out of the question.
Despite age and illness slowing down the once strong, agile, powerful head of state, those close.
It has been 9 days of national mourning and flags flying at half-mast in recognition of the former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's death. And yes, finally it was capped by a 19-gun salute.
That's right. Let's listen in to Leila Mohammed's report.
A 19-gun salute in honor of a former commander-in-chief, one accorded to a civilian, but one who is viewed as though he was a commissioned officer. The long reveille and the last post that entails the blowing of the trumpets twice to symbolize the passing of an officer who, according to the military circles, does not die but simply rests. After ceremonial activities, the late former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's body was lowered into the grave next to his late wife Lena's, as he had desired. Then wreaths were laid on the grave. First to do so were the family members, and on to the head of state and the First Lady down the ranks. Before the 7-kilometer journey from the Kabarak University grounds to the Moi homestead, a final service was held where the former president was eulogized and praised.
Na mzee ambaye kutoka niwe kijana mdogo sana, na mzee wangu Mwenyezi Mungu akamchukua bado tukiwa vijana. Huyu mzee alisimama nasi, akatushika mkono mpaka tukafika pahali ambapo tumefika.
Mzee Moi alipenda kanisa. Alipenda kanisa lake, alipenda Biblia. Alisoma Biblia. Na leo hii Mzee Moi aliniambia tutabea watoto wake wote Biblia.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga went on to perform a ritual similar to what his father Jaramogi did when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta passed on.
I must send him off as a true African and say, Yawa parurulo, lo wangetek, yawa parurulo, lo wangetek. E woi gimicham we mari gimodong tokirkigen. E woi gimicham we mari gimodong tokirkigen. Choge joy, 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 joy.
The military on its part had its mark well cut out at the service. The color, order and activities at the military and civilian rights that were being accorded to Mzee Moi stamped the presence of the forces.
Moi, we can say without a doubt, built the most disciplined, professional army, not just in Kenya, but in East Africa and in Africa.
For one last time, the Kenya Defence Forces officers get to do their duty to take the remains of the former Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, who served them for 24 years, as he goes to his final resting place. The trumpet sounded. Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's song has played out. Now he rests. Leila Mohammed, NTV, Kabarak in Nakuru County.
Well, it seems as though the Moi family has now empowered Baringo Senator Gideon Moi to battle it out with Deputy President William Ruto for Rift Valley supremacy.
As much as they said they would avoid politics. The blessing came in the form of a replica of Mzee Moi's rungu, which the family gave him as a way of signaling political direction.
NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Muredi has details of the burial that turned into a meeting to popularize Kenya's oldest political party, KANU.
Mzee akiwa hapa anataka kujua nyuma yake iko watu wanatingiza ama watingizi.
There was a warning to those attending President Moi's burial to keep politics out of it, but politicians could not help themselves. The owners of the burial struck the first blow, lifting the mourners into an exciting mood with memories of KANU, the longest-serving party in power, and plans for its revival.
KANU iko imara. Na sisi kama vijana ambao tumewaachia uongozi, tutaendesha hicho chama, tutaungana na wengine ili kupitia hii process ya BBI ambayo Mheshimiwa Rais ameanzisha na Bwana Odinga hapa, ili kuleta Kenya pamoja na turudishe Kenya katika uongozi wa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
In terms of seniority and so forth, mimi ndio kweli the leader of this family. Lakini kwa kisiasa wacha tu naamsha dunia.
They kept up the tempo with the Moi family, using the opportunity of the large crowd and presence of the country's top political players to announce the passing on of Mzee's symbol of power, the rungu, to Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, thus bequeathing him the mantle to lead them politically.
Alichunga Kenya hii. Kwa vile mzee alichunga sisi wote, pia sisi tunamwambia huyu, tunamwambia tamki ya mke.
A giant tree that used to give so many people shade has fallen. But I am comforted by the fact that as the giant tree was aging, a seedling from the same tree had been planted. And that seedling has blossomed and grown into a big tree that is going to give us that same shade. And that tree is none other than Senator Gideon Moi.
ODM leader Raila Odinga used the stage to claim hustler status by once more defending his family and those of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Moi against claims they represented dynasties and thus should leave the political stage.
No, Gideon has a right that any other Kenyan to fight for any position that you want to.
President Kenyatta led the pack in remembering the fallen president and his political teachings.
Lakini yule alikuwa mkali, hivyo hivyo tu. Akikusamehe alikuwa anakusamehe.
Moi built a formidable, solid political machine in Kano that helped him consolidate the country, bring all communities on board.
The liberalization we see today, don't take it for granted. It is through his leadership that Kenya became a liberal economy.
One of the things you can remember Mzee for is sought advice, is valued advice.
The final rites for retired President Daniel Arap Moi being more of a teacher-student relationship, where the student says thank you for what they have been able to gain from their teacher who has now rested, and all of them agreeing to the fact that he was the best they could ever have learned from in politics. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Kabarak, Nakuru County.
Let's now track his final nyayo, the final nyayo to his resting place, and Mzee Moi's final journey to his Kabarak home, where he was laid to rest, took only 1 hour 30 minutes.
His body, which was accompanied by his family members and senior military officers, was flown directly from Nairobi to Kabarak.
Seth Olale tracked that final journey of Mzee Moi.
At exactly 6:35 a.m., the cortege of late former President Daniel Arap Moi left the Lee Funeral Home, heading for Wilson Airport. Moi's casket, draped in the national flag, was driven in a private hearse. However, the driver of the hearse was a senior military officer. The procession from Lee Funeral Home to Wilson Airport was low-key, free of the military protocol seen over the last few days. 2 outriders, 2 police chase cars, and 2 military land cruisers accompanying the body. The entire route from Agwings Kodek Road through Mbagathi Way and finally Langata Road was closed. It took less than 15 minutes for the procession to arrive at the Wilson Airport and headed to the police air wing departure section. On hand to receive the body was Gideon Moi and his family. A guard of honor was mounted by the Kenya Army, Air Force and Navy senior officers, after which Mzee's body was meticulously ushered into a Kenya Army helicopter by senior military officers. At exactly 7:40 a.m., Mzee Daniel Moi's body departed Wilson Airport, his son Gideon Moi riding along in the chopper. At 8:36 a.m., the chopper landed at the Kabarak airstrip, where it was received by senior military officers and close family members. Mzee was then ferried by the military gun carrier to the ceremony at Kabarak University grounds. He now rests next to his wife, Lena. Seth Olale, NTV.
Well, aside from the dignitaries, a great mass of wananchi made their way to Kabarak University to be part of the late Mzee Moi's burial service.
Some attendants relived the KANU rule days by donning the party colors during the ceremony. Bridget Singana was there to file this report.
By 5 a.m., the screening machines beeped at all entry points at Kabarak, the home of the late President Daniel Moi. Young and old, they braved the dawn chill to be part of the historic send-off.
And he read the Bible throughout his life.
They thronged the service in their thousands. For some, this was the time to pay homage to their lifelong party leader and longest-serving president.
Nampenda Moi tangu nikiwa mtoto, hata kijana yake ndio mbunge hapa, na bado tutamrudisha kwa hisani ya kurudishia Moi shukrani.
Tumekubali yeye alikuwa ni mfalme kutoka kwa Mungu, maana ile kazi ambayo amefanya kazi vizuri katika taifa la Kenya. Kwa hivyo tunaombea Mungu walalishe vizuri, na hata mimi naamini sio ati amekufa. Mimi najua ameenda kupumzika, lakini moyo wake bado yuko hai.
Hii mzee ni babangu, rika babangu. Ndiye alifurahia kushika chama yake wakati alikuwa mimi kijana na yeye alikuwa rais. Sasa kwa hivyo ilikuja tu kusema pole, kwa maana kila kitu anafikanga siku yake. Unaona hata mateo ya miti anafika siku yake.
Na ningeomba sana viongozi aige mfano wa Moi. Maana Moi amejenga nchi hii, hata vile watu Kenya, wa vijana wa Kenya ama watu ya Kenya vile wamejua kusoma ni yeye.
Those in attendance were treated to a feast which was fashioned to act symbolic of the late president's generosity and neighborliness.
Akipita watu kwa barabara, anasimama, anawasalimia, ananunua vitu, anawapromote, anawapatia pesa. Wenye wanafanya biashara, anawapea pesa mingi, wanaendesha biashara zao.
Kabarak was indeed full with people from all walks of life and across different parts of this country. And what better way to send off the late head of state than by donning the colors of his party, KANU, a party that he cherished until his last breath. Bridget, Ghana, NTV, Nakuru County.
That was the only thing that came out of the ceremony. The burial of the late President Moi birthed a new chapter in the politics of Kenya, a make or break for a group of individuals he brought together by his political ideology and fatherhood.
Well, they're commonly referred to by the moniker Moi Orphans. For this group that has existed and thrived under the late president for at least 3 decades, for the first time, they will have to fend for themselves politically without the counsel of the late Moi.
Ken Mijungu reports they don't only constitute as political but also ideological children.
This burial took with it a political mentor for many, most of who have for close to 30 years looked up to the late President Moi for guidance and political shelter. They have grown under his wings, developed socially, politically and economically due to their close association with Moi. But now that is a closed chapter. In 2002, when Moi exited power, the vacuum was apparent. The void his exit created was not easy to fill. In fact, his preferred successor, President Kenyatta, one of his political orphans had to chart his own path. His close association to Moi was touted as his undoing, and his rejection by the voters confirmed the electorate wanted nothing to do with the retired president. Yet, almost 2 decades later, Moi remained relevant. Long queues were witnessed at his Kabarak home in Nakuru and Kabarnet Gardens in Nairobi. The queues consisted of individuals looking for political counsel, validation, and blessings. Leaders spent hours seeking his attention, and the list was closely vetted, for it was believed his endorsement was as good as an assured victory politically. With Moi out of the picture, the options are limited. Either the political and ideological orphans pave their own way or exit the political stage. The biggest casualty could be his biological son, Gideon Moi, whose proximity assured him of a conclusive win and growth in his political career in Rift Valley. Gideon will now have to be his own man if he has to stand a chance in the future.
She looks at me and says, "You know, Dad, you know these vijanas, I've got 2 boys, Kimo and Keegan. So these vijana, you know, they'll take you to our people's home.
President Kenyatta is another of Moi's political orphans. He was handpicked and tailored to fit his current job as head of state. Moi offered him counsel and guidance, and even in his later years, President Kenyatta paid homage to his godfather. He is the only one who enjoyed unrestricted access to the former head of state. Though Kenyatta cut his own cloth eventually, his success is attributed to Moi and Moi's relationship with his father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and by extension, Mama Ngina Kenyatta.
Nimewahi kupata mawaidha ambaye nimeyatumia maisha yangu yote ya uzima.
William Ruto, a student of Moi, who later became rebellious in the eyes of many, is said to have fallen out with the teacher, the professor of politics, when he failed to manage his ambitions. His intention to become president did not sit well with Moi and his handlers, and Ruto became the first political casualty of the Moi Orphans. His attempts to see Moi were frustrated to Moi's final days on earth.
We became his last bonds in politics. We saw and learned many things from Moi.
Retired President Mwai Kibaki and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga are among the other orphans of Moi, but those who managed to succeed him without his help. While Kibaki is retired, Raila Odinga may for the first time run against the Moi establishment without him being around. In Moi's sunset years, Raila was a constant figure in Kabarak, seeking what many would say was political blessings. It's also whispered that Uhuru only agreed to work with Raila after Moi's blessings.
Nilimwona yeye kwa mara ya kwanza nikiwa mtoto mdogo. Wakija kutembelea Jaramogi alikuwa amewaita.
The others are former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, former Agriculture Minister Sally Kosgei, and Moi's last Vice President Musalia Mudavadi. For this team of family, it's a new chapter on their own. Though they have gone ahead to work together and sometimes differently and against each other, until the 4th of February, they were united under one roof, Moi's house. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
All right, well, today, Jubilee Party Secretary General Rafael Tuju was admitted to the intensive care unit at the Karen Hospital following an early morning accident along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway on his way to Kabarak to attend the late President Daniel Arap Moi's funeral.
Tuju underwent emergency surgery at the Kijabe Mission Hospital before he was airlifted to Nairobi. Tuju was injured alongside 17 others, 14 from the matatu that collided head-on with his vehicle, and his 2 aides and 1 person from a vehicle that was following Tuju's car.
Well, all casualties in the matatu are being treated at the Kijabe Hospital. Mel Miendo has those details.
6:36 a.m. Wednesday morning, the grisly road accident at Magina along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway. The black Prado was CS Rafael Tuju's vehicle, involved in a collision with a 14-seater matatu as he was heading to Kabarak to attend the late President Moi's funeral. The matatu was en route to Nairobi from Nakuru. At the time of the accident, Tuju was in the company of his driver and bodyguard. His 2 aides were airlifted to Nairobi and are receiving treatment.
So the matatu driver, as he's trying to swerve to avoid hitting the personal vehicle, it went to the lane where the Mheshimiwa car was being driven, or where they were heading.
They started streaming in at around 6:36 a.m. Of the 18 casualties, all of them are now stable.
Among the 18 are the driver of the PSV, 14 passengers and another passenger who was in a third vehicle. Tuju's family were airlifted to Kijabe Hospital after he was reported to have undergone surgery. He is said to have suffered multiple injuries which led to the delay of his airlift as doctors sought to stabilize him.
He's stable. He's undergone an operation just to stabilize him. Therefore, now we've determined him stable enough to be airlifted to, again, a hospital of his choice.
Cabinet secretaries and leaders close to Tuju were present at Kijabe Hospital. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed, whose vehicle drove behind Tuju before the accident, was at the hospital from the early morning.
I was actually in conversations with him, and he was talking to his family throughout. He was talking to his friends as well. He was talking to his colleagues. So I think all of us just need to pray for him.
He's good, and we pray to God and ask Kenyans to pray for him and also for the other patients so that they can be well.
After receiving treatment from the Kijabe Mission Hospital, Jubilee Secretary General Rafael Tuju is now being airlifted to Nairobi together with doctors from Kijabe Hospital and his family. For the other casualties, they remain here at Kijabe Hospital as they continue to receive treatment.
The ICT Ministry will be the official channel of information regarding Tuju's health. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Well, good job to the medical team that have attended to everyone who was involved in the accidents, and quick recovery to all of them.
That's right. All right, you are watching NTV Tonight. It's 9:30. Time for a breather. Plenty more when we return. Don't go far.
At Safaricom Foundation, we believe that people's dreams have the power to uplift their communities. And this is why we are committed to investing in programs that focus on health, education, and economic empowerment. Through Ndoto Zetu, last year, we met one such dreamer, Dr. Michael Kazungu, who believed that improving some of the facilities at Blue Nile Hospital would increase the levels of access to healthcare for the residents of Mkoroshoni in Kilifi County.
Tulikuwa kama wanakijiji tunapata shida sana.
Kwa bahati nzuri tulipo apply basi tulitunukiwa zawadi kubwa sana, mashine ya kupima damu inaitwa Fulmogram machine pamoja na kile kitanda. Wengi ambao wanakuja sasa hivi wanapata huduma nzuri kwa bei nafuu.
Tuma ombi lako leo online safaricomfoundation.org/ndoto zetu au tafuta msafara wa Safaricom mkoa wako.
Ndoto zetu, uwezo wetu.
What do you see on the horizon? They say how you start your decade will determine how the rest of it will be. Imagine a decade full of opportunities, investment being one of them. Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A place to unwind every day, where you can get your health and fitness goals attained? A secure place for your family? A center for quality academic goals for your kids? Or perhaps a place to connect with your friends? Well, you can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace, just 20 kilometers from the CBD. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology, to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, yani aje, mimi Jonte Fresh. Mimi ndio nimetambulika hii Gikomba yote sekta ya manguo. Jumio transform nguo ordinary za mtush zenye ziuka mna hii harufu ya bail into the freshest igi kosi yote. Siri ni hii real mpya ya pink. Na kushow mtush zinang'ara kung'ara kushinda kamera. So clean, so fresh. Ma customer unaisana na hii story. Ninatumia aerial touch of down mpya tu.
Did you know that omega-3 and vitamin D have benefits for our bodies? Try 7C's cod liver oil. The liquid-filled capsule contains omega-3 to support heart, brain, and vision, and vitamin A and D to support strong bones, the immune system, and help maintain healthy skin and hair. Try 7C's today. Also available in your nearest pharmacy, 7C's multivitamin syrup.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
The three sides of Anna.
Don't you ever suddenly feel an explosion of joy bursting in your chest for no reason? Or don't you ever suddenly feel sad and you don't know why? Do you know why that is?
Already explained to me that there's nothing really wrong with her.
That's the problem with men. You never really cared about anything.
No. It's you women who turn absolutely anything into a tragedy.
But if Ana Lucia is dreaming about those things, then that is your fault.
Now why would you say that?
It is the truth. She does not find in you the love of a mother.
The three sides of Anna.
Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A secure place for your family? A center for quality academic goals for your kids? Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Welcome back. Now, exactly 30 years ago today, Dr. Robert Oko, a minister in the late President Daniel Moi's government, went missing, only for his body to be discovered the next day at Got Alila, mutilated and burnt.
The death was linked to the powerful and influential people who were around Moi, and that murder remains a mystery tucked in the books of history.
However, the burial of President Moi, who has been at the center of conspiracy theories linked to the assassination, was on the same date the body was discovered. NTV Silas Apollo reports.
Just who killed Dr. Robert Ouko? This is the question that has puzzled both family and friends of the former Minister of Foreign Affairs 30 years since his murder. Ouko disappeared from his Koru farm in Kisumu County on the night of February 12, 1990, only for his body to be discovered later on, badly burnt and mutilated.
I found myself right where the body was, alone.
In what form? Like, just describe.
It's just, what do you call it? Talk about lumps of thick lumps of ash, black ash. Mm-hmm. The head was the only intact thing that could tell you this was a human body. And the hands, the former hands, what were hands before, were actually bones, because they've been burnt. They were now in what they call in medical terms rigor mortis.
Reports and inquiries into the murder showed that the minister had been shot before his body was mutilated. Others say that the murder was committed at the behest of senior government officials close to the late retired President Daniel Moi. Those close to Moi at the time are, however, of a different opinion, saying the former head of state may not even have been aware of what happened.
I was just a new minister in the government, for instance, and I remember the president asking that who would dare imagine that he would want to harm one of his most loyal ministers, loyal and efficient ministers.
Former Kisumu East MP Eric Gorsungu, one of the people who chaired a committee of inquiry into the matter, says the killers were people who were known. a report tabled before Parliament by the committee was never discussed.
What I can acknowledge is that it was a dark cloud in our country.
That cloud still hovers over Kenya's history because 30 years later, Kenyans are still waiting to see the minister's killers brought to book. Even his wife, Christabel Ouko, died without witnessing any of the suspects convicted. In a cruel twist of fate, Christabel died in a road crash in Kipsitet Junction on the Kisumu-Kericho Highway in 2017, the same spot where her husband was involved in an accident a few days before his death. After the death of her husband, Christabel retreated from public limelight and ventured into service to the community to define her legacy and that of her husband. That initiative led to the commissioning of the Ouko Community Center in 2012, which supports needy students, built a community library, shelter for students, and donate books to schools. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Well, that's not the only family that's seeking answers. Let's take you to Teso South in Busia County, where another family is seeking justice after the death of their kin in unclear circumstances, still under Moi's regime.
Titus Adungosi was an architecture student at the University of Nairobi and served as a student leader in 1982 when Moi was in power and during the time of the infamous coup.
Brothers Frederick and Ernest Andungosi have for many years wondered about the mysterious death of Titus Tito Andungosi. According to them, their brother Titus, who was a former chairman of the Students' Organization of Nairobi University, was jailed for allegedly being part of the 1982 coup. Titus had been sentenced to 10 years at the Committee Maximum Prison, but moved to Naivasha Prison just a few months before his release. He died in unclear circumstances with only a few weeks to finish his sentence.
Waleo hatujapata haki vile Titus alifanya nini, alikufa. Hata wakati ya mazishi sisi tungekuwa na uwezo hata kuuliza wakati huo vile ilifanyika, vile postmortem walifanya nini, vitu kama hizo. Sisi familia tukujua chochote, mpaka saizi hatujui alikufa namna gani.
Fearing for their lives, Frederick and their late dad sought refuge in Uganda.
We went to exile to Uganda, mimi na baba yangu, for a few days ili apata amani, because kulikuwa na tension, kila mtu anakuja na yake, polisi, mzaa kuli, afanyi chochote.
30 years later, and the family still mourn the loss of their loved one, who they say was a great leader and had a promising future. Although they have not found closure over the matter, they are still seeking justice. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
All right, on that note, time for another break. The business news is coming up in just a moment with Julian's Amboko. Stay with us.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Fit Me Foundation from Maybelline, New York. Fits your unique tone and texture. Blurs pores. Stop shine. For your most natural matte. Fit Me Matte and Coreless, only from Maybelline, New York.
Inakwambia bibi kuna mdenge fulani bibi hapo na nywele refu yani. Kuna ngoko fulani bibi amemechali yake hadi Sasa ndio maana nina kutupinya mtu mbao. Mimi nimemjenga dhao. Gari ilikuwa salasa. Akaniambia nimjenge 17 hapa tena 30 yangu.
The way this position is tiring. Nimechoka.
Who's that? Ni shosho fulani hapa hivi.
Ati shosho.
Call for long at 1 shilling 50 cents to all networks.
Cartelo.
Dial star 544 hash to subscribe. Telcom, moving with you.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection. And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Meru County Government brings you the first ever Mount Kenya Mountain Running Championship on 22nd February 2020. Come run for a cause to fight cancer, boost environmental conservation and promote Meru County as a tourist destination. The proceeds from this run go towards the building of the first ever Cancer Institute in Meru Level 5, which will be used to do research on cancer, create awareness, advise on preventive measures, offer diagnosis and treatment. Register to be part of the event at www.mountkenyarun.co.ke. Challenging the heights.
Selena!
Toto, where's mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome, I am Julians Amboko. Only farmers registered under cooperative societies allied to the Kenya Planters Cooperative Union will have access to the 3 billion shilling coffee cherry revolving fund aimed at revamping the ailing sector. NTV's Kevin Mutai now gives us detail on what stakeholders attending the Africa Fine Coffee Conference in Mombasa have to say about this initiative.
A week after the National Treasury published the regulations which will govern administration of the Coffee Cherry Revolving Fund, the Ministry of Agriculture has given additional details on how disbursement of funds from the kitty will be administered.
All of it will be managed through an e-voucher system, an electronic system. The farmers must be registered, they must belong to non-organization, they must have a farm, they must be producing, and it will be given against their produce.
For farmers to qualify for the fund, they must be registered under a coffee cooperative society that is affiliated to the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union. This comes despite concerns raised by certain farmers who are questioning the integrity and process of allocation.
Mechanisms have been put in place for a direct transfer of this funding to the farmer in terms of input for coffee industry. When you look at the setup of the coffee value chain, the farmer is a taker of the small amount that remains at the very end of the coffee value chain. And we believe that this has adversely affected the living income of the farmer, leading to a very unstable coffee production.
During the 18th African Fine Coffee Conference in Mombasa, stakeholders and policymakers involved in the coffee value chain discussed ways of breaking the barriers affecting the sector and find market for the commodity under a regional bloc within the East African community.
In the past, we have produced 140,000 metric tons of coffee. And we know we can do that again. All we need to do is give confidence to the farmers that they will get a fair price.
Under the coffee, the intercontinental coffee free trade area which has come up, I think that will ease the movement of coffee and other products among the countries without high tariffs.
Domestic consumption is very important to be developed in producing countries. We produce a lot of coffee, we don't drink a lot of coffee.
The deliberations are expected to save coffee farmers in the region from the dwindling prices, as well as insulate them from the middlemen who have disenfranchised their rights in the coffee business. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
And from coffee, let's talk about matters milk. Dairy farmers in Taita Taveta are raising alarm over the exiting of a giant milk buyer in the coast region. The farmers who produce more than 10,000 litres on a daily basis are concerned on where and to whom they will sell their milk. Brookside will stop collecting milk effective 1st March 2020. NTV's Bill Otieno with the details.
These farmers have met here for a common reason.
they are not too happy with the news coming in that the biggest milk buyer is leaving the region.
Mtu kama mimi nashangaa nitapeleka wapi maziwa? Kulingalia wakulima wetu ni lita 5, lita 2, lita 10. Mimi nashangaa mtu kama mimi naitwa lita 100 nitazibwaga wapi? Mtu wa lita 5, mtu 2 anaweza mwaka kuno. Mimi siwezi kunwa lita 100.
Sasa hii nasikia huzuni sana kwa sababu naona uchumi wa mahali hapa Mingu utaenda chini kabisa.
The county's main milk processor Brookside has closed its coolant in Undanyi and sent messages to its suppliers that it will halt operations effective on 1st of March 2019. Competition posed by milk brokers of buying milk from the farmers at 33 shillings is what is suspected to have led the exit of the giant milk company. The county government of Taita Taveta says it is willing to negotiate with Brookside over the extension of exit date to a span of 3 months.
The farmers have requested that they are given a bit of more time to look for alternative market. So we've sat with them, and we are still, as a county government, we might also request the same. We are requesting for the same, the company to give us more time so that we can establish, to have a smooth flow in terms of transition of the new of a market for milk.
According to Brookside, transporting lower volume of milk from their cooling plant in Undanyi to the processing plant in Ruiru is an expensive entity that is not profitable. Bilotieno, NTV, Undanyi.
Let's talk about fiscal policy. The draft budget policy statement will be tabled before the National Assembly on Thursday as the build-up towards the June 2020 budget statement gains momentum. Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act of 2012 requires the National Treasury to seek and take into account the views of stakeholders and the public in preparing the budget policy statement before submission to the Cabinet for approval and subsequently submission to the Parliament. The draft budget policy statement projects mobilization of 2.1 trillion shillings in revenue in the financial year 2020-2021. Despite the fact that revenue projections for the current financial year had been reviewed downwards from 1.8 trillion shillings to 1.7 trillion shillings. Apartments along Kiambu Road, Ngong Road, Mbagathi Way and Waiyaki Way registered the largest price decline among housing units between the third and fourth quarters of 2019 as the real estate market continues to witness a general price decline. This is according to the Kenya Bankers Association Housing Price Index, which indicated that overall housing prices declined for the fourth consecutive quarter between October and December 2019. KBA Head of Research Jared Osoro says the market will continue to witness declining prices in the coming quarters. And on to matters tech, as the appetite for smartphones continues to gain traction in the Kenyan market, South Korean multinational Samsung has unveiled the Galaxy S20 series in the latest quest to step up its competitive edge. The Samsung S20 will be retailing at 99,000 shillings, the S20 Plus for 119,000 shillings, while the S20 Ultra will retail at 135,000 shillings. The Galaxy S20 series introduces a camera with architecture that combines artificial intelligence with Samsung's largest image sensor. Consumers will be able to make pre-orders from the 21st of February this year. Kenya reported 53 million shilling SIM card subscriptions in the fourth quarter of 2019, pushing its subscription above the 100% mark.
When you want a full picture experiential and sharing with family, friends, and even at a business level, journalists can be able to use this device. Professional photographers can use this. Professional videographers can use this. 8K ready, 8K functionality already in place, 108 megapixel. I'm not sure what an editor is looking for next. This is the device to look for.
And that takes us to the close of business. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Birthday party.
Birthday party. Birthday party.
Birthday party.
Are we not invited?
We have gifts.
Malaria.
Mommy, best.
Run.
Or die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Morty and Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Morty and Doom Power Guard.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary.
A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more and now you can win.
Naitwa Joseph Kipkurui kutoka Uasin Gishu County, mfanyikazi katika kanisa la St. Patrick's Catholic Church. Nilikuwa nyumbani ndio nikapigiwa simu na watu wa Safaricom, nikaelezwa kwa mimi ndio mshindi wa nyumba na nimefurahi sana. Ningependa kuwahimiza watu wenye wako nyumbani zidi kushiriki katika Lipa na M-Pesa promotion kama mimi ndio mshindi wa siku ya leo. Je, wewe?
Lipa na M-Pesa and win now. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
NTV Tonight continues, and looking at another setback in the long quest to prevent the HIV infection. A trial in South Africa has been shut down after an experimental vaccine that was found to be ineffective.
The trial included more than 5,000 young adult men and women in South Africa and had hoped to improve on the results of a clinical trial conducted in Thailand over 10 years ago.
Eunice Omolo now reports on what this means for the war on HIV.
On Monday, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases stopped administration of vaccination in its clinical trial of a HIV vaccine after questions arose over its efficacy. The trial, known as HVTN 702 but nicknamed Uhambo, which means journey in Zulu, included 5,407 young adult men and women in South Africa.
It's a sense of disappointment, but we also know that every study, every trial actually gives us something. It gives us something that helps us in the progress of the other studies that are going on.
The US-based institute which sponsored the trial announced that the study taking place in South Africa was halted after an independent data and safety monitoring board found the vaccine to be ineffective in preventing HIV.
The decisive action to stop it, when an independent review showed that the vaccine does not have the potential to prevent HIV transmission, is by itself indicative of the fact that this particular trial had ethical and human rights considerations.
The vaccine trial began in 2016 and enrolled HIV-negative volunteers at 14 sites across South Africa. Those volunteers were sexually active men and women aged between 18 and 35 years who were randomly assigned to receive either the vaccine or placebo injections. There are 3 other global efforts underway in pursuit of a safe and globally effective preventive HIV vaccine, including the antibody-mediated prevention studies, which Kenya is among 11 countries taking part in, whose results are expected later in the year 2020.
The trials, which began in 2016, had hoped to improve on another one done in Thailand over a decade ago and turned out not to be more than 30% protective. And while this failure seems to be a setback in HIV research, scientists say they are going to regroup and try again. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
With 5 minutes to the top of the hour, we take another break for sports. Brian Otwal is going through his scripts to bring you a smooth bulletin.
E-waste defines all electronics that are obsolete or are overtaken by technology. Take initiative to dispose safely. Reach us on email or the numbers on your screen.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
Molfix breathable surface developed with airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Building tips for general construction should be bought from reliable sources, should not get dry before the specific curing time given for best results, must be kept certified. Exactly 50 kilograms guaranteed in each bag.
Adding strength to Kenya's landmarks, power for specialized constructions, cementing the nation's future. Simba Cement, the strength and pride of Kenya.
Now also produced in Nakuru and Mombasa.
So we feel forever be real, together stay free, whatever ends. No, we can't stop. We wanna taste the feeling. Nothing can ever bring us down. Taste the feeling.
The three sides of Anna.
Don't you ever suddenly feel an explosion of joy bursting in your chest for no reason? Or don't you ever suddenly feel sad and you don't know why? Do you know why that is?
Already explained to me that there's nothing really wrong with her.
That's the problem with men. You never really cared about anything.
No, it's you women who turn absolutely anything into a tragedy.
But if Ana Lucia is dreaming about those things, then that is your fault.
Now why would you say that?
It is the truth. She does not find in you the love of a mother.
The three sides of Anna.
Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A secure place for your family? A center for quality academic goals for your kids? Call us today on 0790 300 300.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. A delegation of 19 officials from the World Athletics are in the country to assess the progress made by the local organizing committee ahead of the World Under-20 Athletics Championships set for July at the Kasarani Stadium. The delegation that arrived in batches include officials drawn from various departments at the World Athletics and their partners. This will be the World Athletics' third visit for the inspection, having visited twice last year. Kenya won the bid to host the World Under-20 Championships following a largely successful World Under-18 Championships held in 2017 with a record turnout of over 60,000 fans attending the event at the Moi Stadium. And Gor Mahia are still top of the Kenyan Premier League despite drawing 1-1 with Western Stima in a match where both sides had a player each sent off. Meanwhile, Bandari survived a late scare to beat KCB 2-1 to hand coach Tohir Muideen his first victory since his return to the Kenyan Premier League.
Champions Gor Mahia were held to a 1-1 draw with Western Stima in a rescheduled Kenyan Premier League match at the Moi Stadium, Kisumu, that saw both teams reduced to 10 men each. 10-man Gor took a second-half lead through Clifton Miheso after defender Joash Onyango was red-carded in the 10th minute. Omran Chan Villa then levelled for Stima minutes before earning his marching orders. The draw sees Kogalo remain top on 45 points with Stima 7th on 32 points.
I'm proud of my boys that they came back and with 10 men and they made it difficult for Western Stima. And before we got the red card, I think we was controlling the pace of the game and controlling the way that it should be.
Game imekuwa nzuri ukiangalia vile tulikuwa tumejiplan na tulikuwa tumeplan kwa attack na that's why pia ilikuwa imeingana vizuri. Na kwa bahati mbaya vile walipewa red card sasa ikakuwa difficult pia kuzana watu 10, so ndo unapata pia mpira nyingi tulikuwa tunacheza hapa katikati nyingi hatungeweza ku attack walikuwa na defend sana.
In Mombasa, William Wadri and Yema Mwana were on target for Bandari in their 2-1 victory over KCB FC at the Mbaraki Stadium. Simon Munala scored the bankers' consolation. The win, which gave Twahir Muhyiddin his first victory since his return to the Kenyan Premier League, takes the Dockers to 23 points in 11th position. KCB remain 4th on 38 points.
And the FKF Electoral Board will, starting Thursday, receive nomination papers from aspirants interested in elective positions at the county level. The exercise will see aspirants submit their duly filed forms to the board upon payment of the respective nomination fees as is stipulated in the FKF Electoral Code. Aspirants from coastal region counties of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Taita Taveta, as well as Garissa and Wajir are expected to hand in their nomination papers on Thursday. The deadline for submission of documents is Tuesday 18th, after which the board will publish a preliminary list of candidates. Disputes around the nomination process and the preliminary list of candidates will be heard by the board before publishing the final list of candidates at both county and national level ahead of the repeat elections to be held on March 27th. And the women's national rugby sevens team, the Kenya Lionesses, are among the 12 teams lined up to compete at the inaugural Sevens Challenger Series event for the women, which will take place in South Africa next month. The Lionesses are alongside Argentina, Belgium, China, Colombia, Japan, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Papua New Guinea, Poland, Scotland, and hosts South Africa. The 12 teams will be drawn into 3 pools of 4 teams that will compete towards a grand final where the winner gains core team status on the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series 2021, replacing the bottom-placed core team at the end of this season and providing a clear and consistent pathway for teams to progress to play against the world's best. And to some NBA, James Harden and Russell Westbrook's combined 78 points led the Houston Rockets to a 116-105 victory over the Boston Celtics at the Toyota Center in the first of 2 matchups this season. Harden scored 42 points, 8 rebounds and 7 assists as Westbrook
in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
And we end with some news that has just broken in the last hour. Kahawa Wendani MCA Cyrus Omondi, that is Kahawa Wendani ward in Kiambu County. He has been found dead in his hotel room in India. And the liaison officer Ronald Kosigi, as Nation Breaking News handle has put it, is at the Kenya Embassy in New Delhi. At the Kenya Embassy in New Delhi has confirmed this particular case, and some sources have it that he may have passed on from a heart attack. A story that we will follow up tomorrow. But that does it for NTV Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Mark Masai.
Thanks for your company. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Flora Atieno. Good night.
This is NTV.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
Conspiracy theories and misinformation about coronavirus is spreading fast online. But what is the truth?
A Sierra Leonean journalist tells us the challenges of delinking satirical work from misinformation.
We'll tell you how Twitter is fighting back against deepfakes and other misinformation.
And did a Kenyan mother thank an atheist society for paying her son's school fees?
How? That doesn't make sense. How?
Well, find out in True or False.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
The water in the lake is not safe.
Uchafu yote nakuja mpaka baadhi, samaki upatikane inakuwa ngumu.
Hatukunywi maji.
These are equal, you see?
We are not releasing any wastewater into the environment.
Tumechoka na kupiga kelele kwa watu ya prison.
Sewer connectivity is still very low.
Government is aware of their production. Government needs to monitor where they empty their waste.
This was undercover camera. Are we going there?
We were given this lake and we're just not looking after it properly. When God comes and says, "Where is my lake?" we say, "Here it is."